when you receive the gospel, when you ace your justification by faith alone exam, when you say, oh, I understand I'm saved by grace, not by works, and I ask Jesus into my heart, and I ask God to accept me because of what he has done, not what I have done. I want my relationship with God to be based not on my past, but Jesus' past, not on my record, but Jesus' record. I get it. No, you don't. I'll baptize you. You're a Christian, but you haven't even begun to get it. Ministers, why are you really ministering? I don't know what percentage it is. You say, oh, it's out of gratitude for what Jesus has done for me. Why do you burn out? Why are you so manic about how things go? Why, when the attendance is up, are you up? Why is the attendance down, you down? Because your very self, your justification is your ministry. I don't know to what degree it is, but to some degree it is. You know that. You know, the lay people next to you here at the conference are saying, are you really that bad? Yes. And I know that to a great degree, I don't believe the gospel. I say principially, I believe I'm saved by faith, but existentially, I'm trying to save myself through my ministry to some degree. That's the default mode of all of our hearts. Churches are filled with people who understand justification by faith intellectually, but they're as selfish, they're as insensitive, you see, they're as scared as everybody else. See? Because you're being justified by power, by approval, or by how well your children are turning out, but not by Jesus. And what God will do, rightly so, is he will spend your entire life shaking down those pennies until they really drop. You know, I live all my life practically in an apartment building, so we're always using Coke machines. My wife believes that the Coke machine is her image of ministry. Because when you put money in the Coke machine, there's this limbo time in which the money's in there, so it's not in your hands. It's got the money, but it's not producing the Coke. It's got my money, but it's not producing the Coke. What's going on? And so what you do is you have to pound it, and then you hear it go down, and then out comes the Coke. And Kathy would say 90% of the Christians she knows are people in that middle state. The gospel has gone in, it's in, but the pennies haven't dropped. And nothing like real character change is coming out. And the people of the world see that. They see that you're just as scared. They see that you're just as you're justified by people's approval and what people think of you, or by success, or by the money you're making, or by how well your children are turning out, or by your ministry. They see that. But what God has got to do is he's got to pound you and pound you and pound you until the pennies start dropping. You know what a revival is? I learned this from studying the history of revival. Revivals are not programs. This is the reason why the doctor was so concerned. And this is basically his answer in this particular sermon that I'm referring to. He says, a revival is when corporately the pennies drop in a whole church or a whole country of Christians or into a whole culture. When suddenly the wonder of the gospel, the implications of the gospel, they don't just believe it, but they understand it existentially, and their lives become radiant because of it. And everyone around looks and says, how do we account for the incredible holiness and the incredible love and the incredible servant hearts? How do we account for this radiant character? And the answer is the gospel. He says, well, didn't you always believe the gospel? Yes, I know, but now we get it. Salvation is of the Lord. It's of the Lord. A revival is when the wonder of the gospel is recaptured. And instead of just going through the motions, I got to have my quiet time, and I got to go to church, and I got to evangelize, and I got to, even though I hate my neighbors, I've got to evangelize them. Gospel realization. That great place in one of the John Newton hymns would say, to see the law by Christ fulfilled and hear his pardoning voice transforms a slave into a child and duty into choice.